Okay, so people know that there is a G7 meeting going on in Canada. So Canada is a country in the world which is considered a developed country. Canada is developed country. United States is developed country. There are seven countries in the world. They are considered as the richest developed country. They have monopoly over industrialization in the world. If industrialization happened in the world, then there are seven countries. They have complete control over the industrialization in the world, and they are called G7 countries. Those are United States, United Kingdom, France, Germany. These are the four that came first. Italy, that is the sixth one, and then Japan, that is the United United Kingdom, United States, Germany, France, four, and then Japan, fifth, Italy, sixth, and Canada, seventh. G7 country. Okay, these G7 countries they meet annually and they talk about how they can control the world, how they can keep controlling the world they were controlling now, till now. That is the concept of mainly G7 nations. These G7 nations they are so powerful. Still, they have 50% of the worldwide wealth. If there are 250 countries in the world, then out of 250 countries, only these seven countries they carry half of the wealth. Only these seven countries. Other half of the wealth goes to other countries. That is the power of this country. That is called G7 country. Okay, now there is a summit of G7 countries. It is going on in Canada. What is G7 country and how it evolved, what it is, why it is in news. G7 country is in news because they are lagging now. G7 countries, G7 country, it was founded in 1973. 1973, these Arabian country, they started sanctioning the rich country around the world. The country who are in the industrial revolution kind of phase, they were taking the crude oil from the Arabian country only. Means the crude oil were coming to this country, they were used in their industry and they were earning a lot from the crude oil. Now, when the Arabian nation they saw that these countries they are supporting Israel in 1973, they started talking about sanctioning this country. We will not give you crude oil. Under this new scenario, the four country at that time four country in 1973 four country finance minister they met in Washington DC White House in library room, that is also called library group, 1973. And these countries were West Germany, not East Germany. West Germany, France, United Kingdom, and United States. Four countries' finance minister they met in 1973 amidst the rising new political scenario from the Arabian nation, when they were saying that if you support Israel, then we will not give you the oil. Under that scenario, they met in the White House library room and it is called library group. Okay, later in the same year, they again met and then they included Japan also. And after some time, they included Italy also. And after some time, they included Canada also. And it became a G7 nation. These G7 nation in 1973, they were holding 68% of the wealth of the world. Only seven countries had 68%. I'm sorry, in 1973, there were only five countries. Japan, Italy, and Canada was not there. These five countries, they were holding 68% of the world wealth in 1973 time frame only. This is the power of this G7 country. These G7 country, they control International Monetary Fund (IMF). It give loan to the developing nation or poor country. They hold World Bank and International Monetary Fund. People generally they have heard of it, and they give fund to, like Pakistan is one of the highest recipient of the IMF. Then these countries they control this IMF. More or less they control the world. Now, why this G7 is in news now? G7 is in news now because China, out of the way, it has become richest country in the world right now. And in that fashion, full balance is unbalanced. Whatever the balance was earlier, it is completely unbalanced now. Now, these G7 countries, none of the countries they are richest now. Now, in that fashion, the way China has come up, now fully it is unbalanced. Now, in the G7 meeting, mostly the discussion that is going on is the Israel-Iran war. More or less, it is going on the way China is toppling the world economic scenario. That is the main discussion going on. Everywhere, China, 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 China. All their these seven countries, what we are talking, their primary business was electronics. Primary business. Either they make telephone or they make the mobile phone. Later they started making the mobile phone or whatever the accessory used in the electronic industry that is completely taken over by China now. Not only that, the automobile sector, like the car and these vehicles, now China is making electric vehicles. There is a company called CATL from the China. It is making the lithium ion battery, and that is lithium ion battery driven cars are coming now, not the petrol and diesel. And these cars are taking over the world. It can be charged through the solar panel also, means it is very easy to charge them, and they give high mileage, no smoke. Only thing is their price is high. Okay, in that fashion, China is going to set to lead in the electric vehicle also. Now all seven G7 nations are sweating now, because like if you see, Japan means electronic giant, Italy electronic giant, France electronic giant, Canada electronic giant, United States electronic giant, West Germany electronic giant, United Kingdom, any electronics item you see, it will be any one of these seven countries only. They had complete monopoly. Now full monopoly is with China now. China is progressing now in automobile sector also, bringing the electronics there. In that fashion, G7 nation meeting is very crucial now. It is crucial also because India has been invited as a guest, and India comes in BRICS nation country, BRICS nation country, that is set of country that is controlled by China, Russia, North Korea. These are more or less one country only. There is one country that is right now, it is coming out of the ocean, is called four nations, that is Iran, United States, China, and North Korea. All are connected to each other. Iran and Russia, I believe they are connected through Caspian Ocean. They do not need to cross any country to go to the Russia or Iran. All these four are connected: Iran, Russia, China, and North Korea, and none of them is democratic. Russia is democratic, but more or less every time Putin only comes into the picture. I mean, these have kind of a communist-based background, and it, they were all right till some time back. But the way China is rising now, G7 nation summit is making the scene right now. What will happen in the future? Anyway, okay, India has been invited there, but what discussion will be there? Their main sweating is how to tackle China. Probably they would advise India to do something that they may tackle China. One of them is Apple phone manufacturing. Means Apple phone has to shift its manufacturing of the Apple phone, 80% of them being manufactured in the China only to the India. That is the one thing they would discuss. But problem is that mobile phone, smartphone, 80% of the worldwide smartphone are from Chinese company only. In that synchronization, means China has environment for the mobile phone. That's why Apple is manufacturing there, taking advantage of the Chinese environment. If they ship into India, what is guarantee warranty that it will proceed in that fashion? Anyway, we will see more on the G7 countries and summit. Okay, so G7, after the oil crisis in 1973, Israel, this country were supporting four countries' finance minister. They met in the White House, and then in 1973 middle, they included Japan also. Primarily, it is electronics-based companies country because they are earning a lot. In 1973, they, they did hold 68% of the global wealth at that time. That's why they included Japan, because Japan was also an electronic giant at that time. 1975 they added Italy, and 1976 they added Canada. So by 1976 they were G7 country. Okay, 1977 they invited European Union countries also, and 2009 onward European Union head is attending it, but they are not part of G7 as such. Anyway, 1994 they invited Russia also, and 1997 it became G8 country, including Russia. In 2014, Russia was kicked out after the capturing of Crimea. Russia was kicked out. But meanwhile, also Russia was under suspicion mark because Russia was not wealthy the way these countries were, because Russia was not Soviet Union; it was a divided country. So it was not so middle in middle only. Russia was taken into a different kind of scenario because it was not that rich the way these seven countries were. So in 2014, Russia was kicked out. Now it became G8 to G7 only. Okay, that is the scenario. Now in 2025, when their summit is going on in Canada, there, the Chinese foreign ministry is criticizing this G7 summit for the okay for the hope. Okay, for the statement that raised concern about the PRC, People Republic of China, nuclear buildup maritime and ex, maritime and actions in the South China Sea and the market position. Just see, China nuclear plan, that is one aim. Second aim is their administration, their action in the South China Sea, I mean their monopoly in the South China Sea, and their market policy. About these three things, they are criticizing China. Main is market policy. Anyway, we will read more about it. Anyway, this G7 nation that was built to do three things mainly. Their aim was in the three things, and the aim was to control the HIV/AIDS, and then second was giving loan, mind it, giving loan to the developing nation through the IMF and World Bank. They control IMF and the World Bank and address climate change. Main was because see they had so much wealth that they thought about giving loan to the controlling the developing nation, more or less controlling is Saudi Arabia and oil generating countries also through IMF. Means take the loan and settle it. Don't stop giving oil or something like that. Means how to control the world. These seven nations they used to meet every year. That is the scenario. First summit happened in 1975 in France, and then 1976 in United States. This is the 51st summit happening in Canada, and next summit will happen in the France. Okay, in one of the summit, I believe last summit that happened in Germany or last or somewhere, there was a big protest there from the people. They protested against G7 that you cannot control the world in this fashion. You meet here and there. They do not have any offices as such. And then you try to control the world in this fashion. That is not going to work out. German people they opposed it. That happened meeting in Germany. Anyway, that is the scenario. Right now, this country, their wealth is 50% of the global wealth. Okay, 44% of the global GDP, their GDP is, and 30% of the world GDP by purchasing power. If we see GDP by purchasing power, 30% of the purchasing power among GDP this country has. 1973, when this organization was made by five countries or four countries, at that time their wealth was 68% of the global wealth. That much rich it is. China is breaking the ice now. Now China, the market policy, whatever China is making, now these countries are shattering now. Till some time back, Japan was looking at China. Japan was developed country and China poor country. Now Japan prime minister or president, he is talking to Xi Jinping that because of the tariff high or something, he is thinking about China as a market or whatever it is in collaboration with the China. Anyway, what is their concern about right now in the 51st summit? that is called non-market policy and practices. Non-market policies and practices that are bring policies practices which attribute to the imbalance in the global trade. Means indirectly they are pointing on the China now. Non-market policies and practices which attribute to the imbalance in the global trade. Means they are cursing China now. The way China is bringing imbalance in the global trade, they are cursing China now. Anyway, what is this statement is non-market policies. After refer to the export subsidy, America gives export subsidy. It announced export subsidy to the country who export to the other world. They give subsidy. Refer to the export subsidies and currency policies that the Trump administration says provide the advantage of in international trade. Means the America is head of G7 right now, practically, and it announces that some policies over the dollar and some policies over the export policies of the company out there or company out all the 7 countries, so that they will keep monopoly on the globe. This is their job is. Now the statement was a scene, was a kind of scenes, a the statement was seen as swipe at China's trade policy. Okay, the way China is making trade policy, there is a conflict going on now. In particular, it is lending, its lending practice. Now, China is giving loan to the poor countries now. These G7 countries, they maintain World Bank and International Monetary Fund, and their job is to give loan to the poor country, developing country. China alone, it is giving loan to the all the country now. If you want money, take from us. Then they are concerned about the China policy because China is giving loan to the countries, and those countries are becoming coming under debt because of China. Was what it is. If International Monetary Fund and World Bank gives loan, then these countries they do not come under loan. That is for free. If China gives loan to them, then they come under debt. Means they are battling sorry. China is a country which is kind of, if someone weighs in a weighing machine, then China is one side and full world is on one side. There are two space stations now. One is International Space Station from full world, and one I believe Russia is also part of it. One space station is only from China. There is G7 nation, they give loan to the countries, all 7 countries, with in the face of World Bank and International Monetary Fund. China, only one country, it is giving loan to all the country nowadays. This is the power of Chinese technology in electronics. Now they are ruling the world. Okay, so that is about the G nation 7 country, and India has gone there on the request of becoming their guest. There, I believe they have invited Mark Carney, he who is kind of he is taking care of the summit. So Mark Carney, he has invited other countries also like Mexico, India, Saudi Arabia, and Ukraine. 4 countries. So he has invited. So I don't know how many are going, but India went there. India is trying to show them that I am with you, not with the China. Provided you shift all your business that is in China to India. Okay, these are the scenario of the G7, and then we will see how China take it, not how G7 take it, how China take it. Now everything is in hand of China now. What we can do, this is how it is.